The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. The Tao is both named and nameless. Nameless, it is the origin of all. Named, it is the mother of myriad things.
If I allow you to leave here this evening under the impression that you understand something about Zen, you will have missed the point entirely. Because Zen is a way of life, a state of being that is not possible to embrace in any concept whatsoever.
This week we will begin by exploring Taoism by following the story of George Thompson, who recently, right out of undergrad, set off for China to see if he could find wisdom to calm his anxiety.
I could never have imagined what getting away from it all would lead to.
Alright, hello George. So you're just feeling a bit down right now. It's just weird how variable I am.
And through his story, we will not only see his transformation, but also the influence of Taoism on Zen Buddhism, Tai Chi, and Kung Fu. These ideas and practices are not doctrines or dogmas. They are bits of wisdom, preserved and revised over thousands of years to harness and nurture energy by putting us in accord with nature.
There's nothing you're supposed to believe in. And it's not a philosophy in our sense, that is to say, a set of ideas, an intellectual net in which one tries to catch the fish of reality. Actually, the fish of reality is more like water. It always slips through the net, and in water, you know, when you get into it, there's nothing to hang on to. All this universe is like water. It is fluid, it is transient, it is changing. And when you're thrown into the water after being accustomed to living on the dry land, and you're not used to the idea of swimming, you try to stand on the water, you try to catch hold of it, and as a result you drown. And the only way to survive in the water, you relax. You let go, you give yourself to the water, and then you find that the water holds you up. Indeed, in a certain way, you become the water. And so in the same way, one might say, if one attempted to, again I say misleadingly, to put Zen into any sort of concept, it simply comes down to this: that in this universe there is one great energy, and we have no name for it. People have tried various names for it, like God, like Brahman, like Tao.
But the Tao doesn't refer to a thing, instead it's the underlying order that governs the universe. So defining it is a fruitless exercise. What is instead is important is to be sensitive to how the universe works and then try and live in harmony with it.
That suchness comes and goes like everything else because this whole world is an on and off system. As the Chinese say, it's the yang and the yin.
Tao, the first three strokes, that's yin yang and yang yang, that represents the yin-yang balance.
And therefore it consists of now you see it, now you don't, here you are, here you aren't, here you aren't. Because that's the very nature of energy, to be like waves, and waves have crests and troughs.
自, which means oneself. That means Tao is not far from you. Tao is within you.
So when you are awake to that world, you suddenly find that all the so-called differences between self and other, life and death, pleasure and pain, are all conceptual, and they're not there. When you wake up to this and realize that you are really a playing of this one energy, and there is nothing else but that it is you, you become full of energy and delight. You will be able to be human, that is to say, to be able to drift like a cloud and flow like water, seeing that all life is a magnificent illusion, a playing of energy, and there is absolutely nothing fundamentally to be afraid of. And as a matter of fact, far from being boring, the world when looked at without chatter, becomes amazingly interesting. The most ordinary sights and sounds and smells, the texture of shadows on the floor in front of you, all these things without being named and saying, that's a shadow, that's red, that's brown, that's somebody's foot. When you don't name things any longer, you start seeing them.
The last part is 走之, which means to go, to move, to act.
There's this idea in Chinese medicine that the body has to move, that movement is as important as eating or sleeping. And 23, 24 centuries ago, they started to write pictures about how people should move to keep the body healthy. So they're moving, but it's more than that.
What do those motions, those physical attitudes have to do with qi?
If you ask this woman, she will tell you she can feel it. She can actually feel it, and she can move it.
This is meditation in motion. There is a relaxed quality to it, but there's also an explosion of qi.
The secrets to spontaneity captivated ancient China, and a state they called Wu Wei. Wouldn't it be awesome to be able to glide through life like those ancient Chinese sages?
They found in the very simplest things of everyday life magic.
Your activity this week will be to nurture and move your qi. Pick one of 4 20-minute videos to guide you through some ancient Chinese movements and breathing exercises and report what you learned. Remember, the purpose of these exercises is not just exercise. The purpose is to generate and move your qi. As you do the exercises, see if you can feel energy or any kind of tingling sensations by focusing your attention inward.